Hello there, all you folks out there in YouTube land. This is the game review I'd been dreading for a while, as I'm really not very good at this particular type of game, and I'd heard lots of very bad things about it. Given my experiences, I find myself for the most part unable to agree with those people. I promised you all this review weeks ago, and to date, I still haven't managed to get to the end of it. I did get far enough in to make a better than educated guess on how it ends, however, and if I'm right, then that's rather BioShock of them. That said, I need to get this out of my inbox, and move on. Alien Isolation is more interesting, and Witcher 2 more honest about itself and its milieu. What can I say? The story here is mostly told as it was in the original BioShock, through the environment, sound clips, and various other oddities. If you look around, you can easily see the writing on the wall. No, really. Things critical to your understanding of the story are on the bloody walls. If you're trying to rush through to do a critique, you miss lots of little things that can make your experience much more rewarding. Columbia itself seems like pre-World War Miami Rucana gone berserk, taking in both the good and the bad of American society during the time period, and freezing it in a single moment of time, cutting out all the before, and then letting time run again, only with some rather deft social engineering to maintain societal stasis. There is a privileged class and several underclasses kept locked away from the area of Columbia you start your murderous rampage in. Yes, the game is violent, and yes, it carries racist and sexist undertones. Well, okay, maybe not sexist as much. However, you see the racism in the world above, and then they put a human face on just how vile it is. Anvil dropping, yes, but relatively well done anvils chased with fine gold filigree. Given the culture in which the story is set, a certain amount of that is okay, and BioShock Infinite either takes it to satirical extremes, or shows the ugly side to it tinged with a bit of respect rather than outright shaming tactics. The very idea of overt sexism flees entirely once we have an ally in Elizabeth. The dynamic between Booker and Elizabeth is on the nature of an actual partnership in which each plays to the strengths of the other whilst covering weaknesses. Booker is a hulking, ploddy figure, and Elizabeth's ability to open gateways for him give him a much-needed boost in mobility. Booker is a huge slab of bullet-absorbing material, and Elizabeth always liked she could be blown away in a stiff wind. Once you get the hang of having her around, then you're unstoppable. A lot of people have asserted that this is simply a hyper-violent shooter with racist tones and a misogynistic bent, and from my experience with the game, I would have to say that they didn't play it for long. Honestly, it's not even really Booker's story, it's Elizabeth's. She is the focus of the game from the first moment, and the relationship between the Prophet of Columbia, Elizabeth, and Booker dominates the game just as assuredly as the one between Andrew Ryan and the protagonist of the first game. The social justice elites in our society can yell and scream if they like, but ultimately they're just railing to be railing. There are 100 games more violent than BioShock Infinite, and I'm not even going to consider sexism as part of the game at all. What there is blends perfectly into the existing environment, and even that seems to be missing the tones that people the likes of Anita demands is present. Okay, Elizabeth will never make a good match shield, but why do you care? She's a strong character in her own right, and more than capable of cooperating with her allies to accomplish the task at hand. Because in the end, that's what we should all be doing. Helping each other get the job done. Oops! My equality bias is showing again. Hold it together a bit longer, Wren. This game is one of the better shooters out there today, as it has a clear story that begins and remains internally consistent. The visuals are gorgeous, even if they did threaten to overheat the CPU on the laptop more than a few times, and the rest is well assembled, it's a touch awkward at times. It's not perfect, but little in the world ever is. For this game, I present a rating of 7.5 out of a possible 10, if only because some of the stupid controller tricks and the cryptic advancement system made me want to climb the walls. I would have loved the ability to carry a small number of medkits on my person as well, because rooting through all the rubbish for food was rather disturbing. More medkits, less dumpster diving, thanks. Overall this game was a good experience, and I promise to get to finishing it someday here soon. Next week, I will be presenting Alien Isolation, and the week after, Transistor. Or maybe vice versa. After that we'll get back to The Witcher 2, as I cannot play the first from Steam on a Windows 8 machine. Until next week, play the games you want to play, and ignore the crap. Let's make games fun again.